How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Chavav, Daf 26 of Masechta BavaBasra, friends. Okay. This is kind of like the second to last daf of the second parak, I guess. Where are we? What do you want me to tell you? Alright, let's start. Okay, we're going to start on Daf Chavav Amud Aleph at the Mishnah. Lo yita adam ilon samuch l'snei chavero elo imkein irchik mimenu arba amis. Okay. Thou shalt not planteth. Do not. Lo yita adam. A person should not plant ilon samuch l'snei chavero, a tree near your friend's field. Elo imkein irchik mimenu arba amis. You have to distance 4 amis from your friend's field. Regardless of if we're talking about grapevines or any trees or alright. Okay. Fine. Alright. Okay. Alright. Okay. What am I to tell you? Okay. Oh, okay. So Rashi says, right, Bain stay alav, Bain stay ilan. Alright. Okay, whatever, you gotta have, the Gemara is going to talk about it as shtickle, but okay, you gotta have this distance, right? You can't plant a tree within 4 amas of your friend's field or whatever, because you have to have enough room to be able to plow, the field and stuff like that. Okay, fine. In time, if there was a wall between, I guess, the field and the tree, so each one can get up to the fence on either side. If one of, we saw this the other day, right? So if Shimon's got the tree and his roots are going into Reuben's field, what is, interesting. Okay, so well, let's flip it around. If Reuven's got this tree and it's going to Shimon's field, so then Shimon can cut the roots 3 tvachim deep, so that the roots should not mess with his plow. If Shimon, whose field it is, was digging a pit, a ditch, or a vault, so then he can go down as deep as he wants, and the wood belongs to him. The kasha is who belongs to who? The Gemara is going to ask. All right, exciting Mishnah. Says the Gemara, Tana arba amas sha'amru k'dei avodas hakerim. So when we say 4 amas, that there have to be 4 amas between the tree and the field, because the 4 amas is enough to be able to kind of, I guess, plow to be able to plow a vineyard or outside of a vineyard or whatever. But that applies nonetheless, whether it's a vineyard or whether it's anything else. You still need to have these 4 amas. Says Shmuel that when we say 4 amas, that's davka in Eretz Yisrael, but in Bavel they had thinner plows, so only 2 amas was required. Learn in a brayso lo yita adam ilon samuchas dechaveru elim kein irchik menu shtei amas. A person who wants to plant a tree next to his friend's field needs to distance 2 amas. For anan arba amas, but didn't our Mishnah say 4 amas? Elav kedishmul. Shmamina. Rather, it must be like Shmuel, that it depends. In Eretz Yisrael, it's 4 amas. In Bavel, it's 2 amas. Vika derami lamirma. Those who kind of have the same sort of facts, but kind of have it as a question answer rather than, I don't know. Meaning, we started with Shmuel says that this is in Eretz Yisrael, but in Bavel it's different. To those who ask it as a question, and Shmuel comes to answer that question. So, meaning that on the one hand, Tanan, the one in our Mishnah says, L'yita adam ilan. On the one hand, our Mishnah says you have to distance 4 amas, but Tanish amas. We have a brayso that says 2 amas. Amar Shmuel, so come Shmuel to answer. Lokasha kan b'Bavel kan be'Eretz Yisrael. That in Bavel it's 2 amas, in Eretz Yisrael it is 4 amas. Rove bar Rav Chonon havule hanu dikle amitzur de pardesa de Rav Yosef. Rove bar Rav Chonon had palm trees right at the border, right next to Rav Yosef's vineyard. Havu asu tzipore, and the birds would come, Yasve bedikle, and sit in Rav Bar Chanan's palm tree, and then they would go down to the to Rav Yosef's vineyard and make a balagan. So Rav Yosef says to Rav Bar Chanan, Zil coats, cut down your trees. They're creating a balagan because the birds and everything. So Rav Bar Chanan says to Rav Yosef, Archiki li, but I'm 4 amas away. What do you want? Or maybe because it was bubble, maybe it was 2 amas, but I've distanced myself the requisite distance. So what are you akimi a chaynik? So Rav Yosef responds, Hanemili li ilonis, that the 4 amas is only 4 trees. But I have a vineyard over here. It has to be more than 4 amas. But Rav Bar Chanan responds, but the Mishnah Davke says that this halacha is whether it's by a vineyard, whether it's by whether it's by trees, whether it's by vineyards, it makes no difference. So Rav Yosef responds, Hanemile Elon le'elon v'gefanim le'gefanim. Look, if it's a tree, if it's a field full of trees and you're planting a tree, or if it's a vineyard full of vines and you're planting a vine, so beseder, so that's the dis. So you have to have 4 amas distance. Aval elon le'gefanim beinan tfei. But if I have a vineyard and you want to plant a tree, it has to be more than 4 amas. Amalei, to which Rav Chanan says, look, Ana lo kaitzana, I'm not cutting down my trees. Rav, because Rav says, Hai diklo detoin kaba osulim k'tzai. If you have a palm tree that produces even just 1 kav worth of dates, you may not cut it down. Ve'omer Rav Chanina, says Rav Chanina, lo shachiv shichichas bari. There was a fellow named Shichichas Bari and he died. Why did he die? El dukatz teinosu b'lozmani, because he cut down a fig tree when it was producing figs. So mar inichale likus. So therefore, says Rav Bar Chanan, look, I don't feel comfortable cutting down my date palms because it seems like a pretty grave thing to do. But Rav Yosef, if you want to cut them down, gezunte hate. Rav Papa avale anu dikle amitzah to Rav Huna, brother of Yeshua. Rav Papa had palm trees next to the field of Rav Huna, brother of Yeshua. Ozal Ashkeche. So now Rav Papa found Rav Huna, brother of Yeshua, to have a chofer that he was digging up the ground, and he was cutting, and he was cutting the roots of Rav Papa's tree. Omerle, my high. So Papa says, Rav Huna ben Yeshua, what the heck? Omerle, so Rav Huna ben Yeshua says, Tanan. He says, what do you mean, what the heck? There's a Mishnah. That if somebody, you in this case, Rav Papa, if your palm tree, if the roots of your trees are going into my field, so I'd be allowed to dig 3 tvachim into the ground so that it doesn't ruin my plow. Amalei, to which Rav Papa says, Hani mile shlosha. Okay, fine, 3 tvachim. Marka chafer tvei. But you're going to town. You're digging more than 3 tvachim. Amalei. So to which Rav Huna ben Yeshua says, well, what do you think I'm digging for? I'm digging pits, ditches, and vaults. So the Tanana Chofer Bor Siach Umayr Kotzitz V'Yored Ve'etzim Shalo, that if you're digging a pit, a ditch, or a vault, so you can cut further down, and whatever roots you have to cut, you can keep. The Shaila is who can keep. Papa says, Papa Omar Amrile Kul Hey V'Lo Yachilnu Lei. Says Papa, I was trying this argument and that argument, but I could not convince. I could not stump Rav Huna ben Yeshua. Right? Anything I tried, Rav Huna ben Yeshua had a response to. Ad the Amrile, until I said to him, Hada Amar of Yehuda. That which Rav Yehuda says, Meitzer she'echziku bo rabim. We've seen this before. Also lekalkalo. So right, if a person has a border to his field, and the border is for his field, it belongs to him, but people have used it as like a pathway, so the people already use it, and they may have a chazaka. I think they've been using it for 3 years. They have a chazaka on it. So also likalkalo. So basically, the owner of the field is basically has to allow people to use it. He can't do anything to that boundary, even though technically it belongs to him. But if he's allowed people to use it as a walkway between fields, so then he has to leave it that way. So therefore, here also, Rav Papa says, look, I have a chazaka, right? That my trees are here, and that the roots go into your property. You have to leave it. After Rav Papa left, Omar, Rav Huna ben Yeshua says, "Do." Why didn't I say to him, "Kan besoch sheish esrei ama, kan chutz l'sheish esrei ama"? It depends. Did we even see? I don't remember if we saw this. Did we see this like yesterday, or the day before? I can't remember. Anyways, I don't know. So it depends. Oh no, I think I was thinking about the bird flying and eating within 50 amas. Anyways, the tree, so the first 16 amas that the roots expand, spread out to. So within those 16 amas, that is kind of where it gets its main kind of nurturing from. That's like the main thing. But outside of 16 amas, so then it's a different. If it's not as big of a deal. What does Rashi say? Besoch sheshes amas leilan havi chazaka dilan. So that would be the chazaka for the ilan. Aval chutz l'sheshes ama in chazkas chazaka shav bisha shosh mispat in chafei ama in yonkim ela besoch tazayin. They only get their nourishment from the first 16 amas. Samuch leilan chadabin in the comment. Fine. So therefore, so Rav Papa said to Rav Huna ben Yeshua, look, you have to leave the roots there because there's a chazaka. To which Rav Huna ben Yeshua says that chazaka would only be for the first 16 amas, but this is more than 16 amas. So therefore, I'm allowed to cut them down. All right, fine. Ve'etzim she lo. Where am I? So Chofer bor siach umar kotetz v'yord ve'etzim shelo. So if he's, so the Mishnah had said that if the owner of the field is digging a pit, a ditch, or a vault, so then he can dig as deep as he wants, and the wood is his. But mine Yaakov hadaiva me'Rav Chizda eitzim shelmi. So Yaakov hadaiva asked Rav Chizda, who gets to keep these trees? I guess the roots, right? Who gets to keep this wood? Okay, that if he's digging a pit, a ditch, or a vault, so then he can dig as deep as he needs to, and the wood is his. The wood is whose? So Amalei, so Rav Chizda says, T'nisua. Well, we can learn it from a Mishnah. Sharshe ilan shel hedjit haba'in mishel bishel hektish. So let's say you have two fields, one next to each other. One is not hektish, the other is hektish, and you have the roots of a tree from the non-hektish field that extend into the hektish field. So lo nenin v'lo ma'alin, so we say with regard to these roots, you can't get benefit from them because they extend into the hektish field, but also you wouldn't be over on me'ilah if you did get benefit from them. So be'etzem, they're not considered hektish midoraisa. Right? V'lo ma'alin, you wouldn't be over on me'ilah. So Yomad Bishlam Basar Ilon Azlino. So it says of Chizda, you see that would make sense to say that we go based on the tree, that the tree is in a non-hektish field. And that is why Mishumachi Lo Ma'alim, that's why there's no Me'ilah. Elo Yomad Basar Karka Azlino, if we say that we go based on the property where it is, well then the property is hektish. Amai Lo Ma'alim, why is there no Me'ilah? There should be Me'ilah, it's right? The field that it's extending into is hektish. So therefore, here also, right? So we're saying if we go based on the tree, so if you're digging a ditch, a vault, or a pit, and you are cutting down these roots, I guess the wood would go to whoever owns the tree, not to the neighbor whose land the roots spread into. So elamai basar ilan azlinon. So what? So we're saying that you go based. So the Gemara asks, so you're saying that you go therefore based on the tree, not the land where the roots are, but ema seifa. But I'll tell you the seifa shel hektish habayim b'shel hedjit. If you have a tree of hektish whose roots extend into a non-hektish field, lo neniv lo mo'alin. There we also say that there's no din me'ila. V'basar ilon azlinon. But yet, if we were going based on the tree, well, in this case, the tree is in the hektish field. Amai lo mo'alin. Why would there be no din me'ila? If we go based on the tree is in a hektish field. It should be chayv for me'ila. So midi'irya begidulin aboyin la'achar mikan askinon. So rather, no, what's going on here? What are we talking about? When we're talking about lo nenev lo ma'alin, we're specifically talking about parts of the tree that grew, or I guess in this case parts of the roots that grew after the tree was made hektish. Oh, so are we talking about actually a hektish field or just a hektish tree? Well, no, so it depends. Well, I guess in the first case, I think maybe talking about the tree was not hektish, but going into land that is hektish. So maybe the second case is talking about a tree that's hektish, but going into land that is not hektish. Okay, so therefore we're talking about the roots that grew after the tree was already made hektish. Because over in meila begidulin, and the assumption is that there's no, and the Tana holds that there's no meila by things that grow afterwards, but it's not necessarily a proof that that we go based on the tree or that we go based on the land. Ravina Omer says, Ravina lo kasha kan b'soch sheish esrei ama kan chutz l'sheish esrei ama. Says Ravina, well, actually, it depends if it's within 16 amas or more than 16 amas. So meaning, right, as we said earlier, that it's within even though the roots of the tree might extend 25 amas, but the first 16 amas is where it's getting its sustenance. That's really considered the main part. So therefore, in the ratio, when we said that the tree that goes into the hektish area is not me'ila, it's because what's going into the hektish area, the parts outside of the 16 amas. So therefore, it's not really me'ila. And also when we say that the tree that extends into the hedjit part, so also, but the part that's extending to the hedjit part is the part that is more than the 16 amas. Let's read Rashi kind of, it's like not super clear, but let's read Rashi kind of explains it first. Ravina Amar Lakasha, Reisha de Katani Basar Elon as Lidon. So the ratio when we say that we go based on the Elon, right, because the Elon is in the hedjit field and extends into the hektish field. So Hainu Besoch Tezayin Ama. So meaning when we say that it's not Me'ila, it's because we're talking about with the first 16 amas, and it's the tree that's in the it's a non-hektish tree. So therefore, there's no me'ila within the first 16 amas. V'sefer the katoni shel hektish, bayin b'soch shel hedjit. When you have a hektish going to a hedjit field, lo mo'alin, there's no me'ila hanu chutz l'tazayin. That's outside of tazayin. Okay, so there's this distinction between 16 amas and outside of 16 amas. And I guess imagine that maybe back to our case of who does the trees belong to, right? So if you have the tree extending into the neighbor's field and he's building a ditch, a pit, or a vault, and the question is who gets that wood. It's like I think the point is that it would depend if it's within 16 amas or not. If it's within 16 amas of the if it's the first 16 amas of the root, I imagine it would belong to the owner of the tree. If it's past that, then it would belong to the person digging the pit, the ditch, or the vault. Peace out.